The observation deck of the Kepler station hummed with the steady rhythm of life support systems, a sound that had become William's heartbeat over the past 3 years. He stood before the reinforced viewport, watching Jupiter's swirling storms through the infinite darkness. The planet's great red spot pulsed like a cosmic wound, beautiful and terrible in equal measure. Still brooding about the transmission, Maya's voice cut through his thoughts. She approached with 2 bulbs of coffee, her boots magnetic locked to the deck plating. Her dark hair floated slightly in the station's 0.98 gravity, a reminder that even here, millions of kilometers from Earth, they couldn't quite escape the pull of physics. William accepted the coffee without turning. The signal's origin point doesn't make sense. According to our triangulation, it's coming from inside the Europa ice sheet, 400 kilometers beneath the surface. Could be a reflection. The ice plays tricks with electromagnetic waves. Maya joined him at the viewport, her reflection ghosting over the starfield. For 6 months, with that level of coherence, William shook his head. This isn't random noise, Maya, it's a pattern someone or something is trying to communicate. The transmission had first appeared on their sensors during routine monitoring of Europa's subsurface ocean. At first, they dismissed it as interference from Jupiter's intense magnetosphere. But the pattern persisted, repeating every 47 hours with mathematical precision. The frequency was too specific, the intervals too regular. It was artificial. Maya pulled up a holographic display between them, her fingers dancing through the projected data. I ran the signal through every linguistic algorithm in our database. Nothing. If it's communication, it's not based on any known language structure. Maybe we're thinking about this wrong. William expanded the waveform, watching it pulse in 3-dimensional space. What if it's not linguistic? What if it's mathematical? I tried that. No correlation to prime numbers, pi, phi, or any fundamental constants. William zoomed in on a specific section of the waveform. Look at this phase shift here and here. They're not random. They correspond to, he paused, his breath catching. Maya, pull up the orbital mechanics of the Jovian system. She complied, overlaying the planetary data onto the signal pattern. For a moment, neither spoke. It's a map, Maya whispered. The phase shifts correspond to the orbital positions of Jupiter's moons. Not just positions, trajectories. William's hands trembled slightly as he isolated another section. Whoever sent this knows orbital mechanics. They're showing us when and where the moons will be aligned. For what purpose? I don't know, but the next alignment matching this pattern occurs in 72 hours. The decision to investigate further wasn't made lightly. Their mission parameters didn't include direct contact with potential xenobiological phenomena, but the opportunity was unprecedented. William spent the next 2 days preparing the Deep Ice probe, modifying its sensors to record any anomalies during the alignment. Maya coordinated with mission control on Earth, though the 40-minute communication delay made real-time consultation impossible. They were on their own, making decisions that could reshape humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Probe's ready, William announced, sealing the final connection. The device was sleek and cylindrical, packed with instruments designed to survive the crushing pressure beneath Europa's ice. I've programmed it to descend to the signal's origin point and establish a relay. And if something goes wrong, then we'll have the most expensive paperweight in the solar system sitting at the bottom of an alien ocean. Launch window approached with agonizing slowness. They sent the probe on a trajectory that would intersect Europa's surface at the optimal angle, using the moon's thin atmosphere for initial braking. The descent would take 6 hours. William and Maya monitored every second. The probe's telemetry streamed across their displays, temperature dropping, pressure increasing, ice density measurements fluctuating as it burrowed deeper. At 300 kilometers, they detected the ocean interface. Liquid water, kept warm by tidal heating from Jupiter's gravitational pull. Signal strength increasing, Maya reported. We're close. At 412 kilometers depth, the probe stopped transmitting visual data. For 3 minutes, only carrier waves reached the station. William's hands gripped the console. Then the feed returned. The image was distorted, filtered through hundreds of kilometers of ice and water, but unmistakable. A structure. Not natural formation, not random geological processes, but deliberate construction. Crystalline spires rose from the ocean floor, glowing with bioluminescent patterns. The architecture was alien, angles that seemed to shift when viewed directly, surfaces that reflected light in impossible ways. My God, Maya breathed, it's a city. Was a city, William corrected, zooming in. Look at the degradation, this is ancient, maybe millions of years old. The probe drifted closer, its sensors recording everything. The structures were built from a compound they couldn't immediately identify, part mineral, part organic, fused at the molecular level. The bioluminescence came from colonies of organisms living in symbiosis with the architecture itself. Then the signal changed. The regular pulse they'd been tracking for months suddenly shifted, becoming more complex. The probe's instruments struggled to process the influx of data. William worked frantically to decode it, but Maya saw it first. It's responding to us, she said quietly. The city's responding to the probe. Across every display, patterns emerged, not just mathematical anymore, but representational. Images formed in the data stream, diagrams of molecular structures, stellar maps, what looked like biological taxonomies of species they'd never seen. And then, unmistakably, an image of Earth. They knew about us, William said. Whoever built this, they studied our world. When, how long ago? More data cascaded in. Maya's algorithms began finding correlations. I'm seeing temporal markers. If I'm reading this right, the last activity in this city was approximately 3.7 million years ago. Before human civilization existed. Before Homo sapiens existed. The implications were staggering. An advanced civilization had thrived in Europa's ocean millions of years before humanity took its first steps. They had studied Earth, mapped the solar system, built structures that defied current engineering understanding. And then they had vanished. Why did they leave? Maya wondered aloud. William studied the data, his scientific training warring with something more primal, the unsettling feeling that they were standing in a graveyard. Maybe they didn't leave. Maybe they're still here. As if in response, the probe's sensors detected movement. Not mechanical, but biological. Something massive, navigating through the ancient spires. The camera caught a glimpse, a form that seemed to shift between states, both solid and fluid, adapted perfectly to the high-pressure environment. Life, Maya whispered, complex life, descendant species. Or the builders themselves, evolved beyond recognition. The entity approached the probe, examining it with what might have been curiosity. Then it did something unexpected. It touched the probe's hull, and immediately the data stream exploded with new information. Genetic codes, chemical formulas, star charts showing migration patterns across the galaxy. It's giving us its entire database, William said, awestruck. Everything they learned, everything they were, it's sharing it all. Why? Maybe because it's lonely, maybe because it wants to be remembered, or maybe, William paused, a chill running down his spine, maybe because it's a warning. One final image came through before the probe's power failed. A stellar map, showing not just the Jovian system, but neighboring stars. And on several of them, markers that matched the symbology used for the Europan city. But these markers were crossed out, designated with symbols that could only mean one thing. Extinct. The probe went silent. William and Maya sat in the observation deck, staring at the archived data, processing what they'd witnessed. They'd found proof of alien civilization, but not the triumphant first contact humanity had dreamed of. Instead, they'd found a memorial, a message from a species that had watched their own kind die across the stars. "We need to tell Earth," Maya said finally. "We will, but we need to be careful about how. This changes everything." Outside the viewport, Europa hung like a pale jewel against Jupiter's bulk. Beneath that frozen surface, ancient secrets waited. And somewhere in that dark ocean, a lone survivor kept vigil over the ruins of a civilization that had reached for the stars and found only silence. William took Maya's hand, two humans floating in the void, suddenly aware of how fragile their own existence was. "Whatever we do next," he said, "we do it remembering them." She nodded. Below, in the lightless depths, the entity returned to its eternal watch, its message delivered to the cosmos's newest travelers. The quantum bridge between species had opened, if only for a moment. And the universe felt infinitely larger and infinitely more lonely than before.